Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Worlds of Wall Street. I hope you're doing fantastically well, wherever you are in the world. It's getting dark earlier. I don't like it. It means summer is coming to an end. The leaves are going brown. But hey ho, we crack on with Solana today. Sol on the exchange, SOL. So no real kind of like major updates from Solana the last few days. Can you believe it's been a week since the last update we've done on Solana? The problem with we've got at the moment, of course, is limited resource, limited time because of work and everything. So we do our best. Hopefully you're enjoying the videos when we can get them out. And what I'm trying to start to do is kind of organise the week in terms of like each day will be a different batch of tokens. But then of course then things happen and then you have to swap it around. So there's a bit of an organisation going on. And we try and fit some really early in the morning, getting up for you guys, get some videos out, and in the evenings as well. So sometimes even up to like 1 in the morning. So hopefully you guys are enjoying them. And we've got this update here. So it's been a week since Solana. I've tried to fit it in earlier, but there's so many cool things going on in the crypto world all the time. We'll go into the chart in a minute, which isn't so cool in terms of the drops that we've had, but I think that's a buying opportunity. Certainly maybe coming up, and we'll review what we put in last time and see where we've got with that. First of all, if you remember in the previous video we mentioned about the Solana network going down. It was actually offline for 17 hours. I didn't realize that. I thought it was quicker than that. So just to re-emphasize really what I said in the previous video, I think it's great, first of all, from the community aspect, but the fact that the whole mechanism of developers and engineers coming together to essentially sort out the issue, fix the problem, and they've done that quite quickly. So apparently it was the cause of network was in effect a denial of service attack at 12 o'clock UTC. Grey Protocol launched their IDO on Radium. So apparently there's a load of bots issues, validators were forced to crash because of bots flooding the network, silly bots. So yeah, loads of things going on there. Transactions flooded the system, the network basically crashed and locked. And then literally engineers across the globe with pretty much a full entire coordination of an upgrade amongst over 1,000 validators got involved in that. How clever and cool is that, guys? Like, to be involved in the community in a project where you've got a problem, you can't deal with it in-house, and all of a sudden your pals across the world that you've never met, that love your project, that love your blockchain, they're standing there ready to protect it, to guard it, to fix it. I love this, and I'm really pleased that they put this announcement out. There's so many companies out there that just don't bother putting information out as what's happened. This gives you full clarity. Like, one, you get the confidence, okay, wow, good, it wasn't hacked or anything like that. But more importantly, it's just like, oh wow, okay, the analysis, wow, really, it went on for that long, and how it got fixed. I think it's brilliant, and fair play to the PR team and everyone in Solana for pulling that together, because I think that builds confidence in the brand. I think it builds confidence in the company, obviously, and the blockchain itself. So fair play to them, and that's kind of really wrapped most of the items up. There's been a few like launch pools. Well, I call them launch pools, but yeah, there's pretty much like an asset pool on Solana. So the seller, I think it's called, or Cello dollar assets being launched on there. There's a few really cool on their TV aspect, because I think they launched on Twitch as well recently. So there's loads of little workshops around. There's one about the Happy token, which is quite cool. I need to watch that tonight when I get a moment. And about the Ignition Hackathon, which we've covered quite a few times. Trying to promote developers and coders to try and basically corrupt the system or break the system and keep improving it. An invitation essentially, but also other elements of NFT aspect launches and the DEX platforms within Solana as well. So there's loads of really cool stuff going on with those guys. The Ignition Hackathon, of course, they did some other really cool aspects here too, around development of Web 3.0 programs. So go and check their Twitch account out, because they have got some really good informative videos. I have watched a couple last week, so it's really good to know where they are at with things and just generally what the kind of things that they're doing in the world. I think it's fantastic. So that kind of wraps up the info. I'm sorry it's a bit boring, but there isn't really much going on. But I think more of the action is going on the chart. Let's take a look. So before we do that, please make sure if you found this video informative that you press that big thumbs up button. Please do that right now. And then subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And the bell button's there in case you want to be notified of all the awesome videos we have coming your way in the future. So let's take a look at this. To be honest, since the last video, which I think I've got written here on the 14th of September, so that's not that long ago, but it's pretty much 6-7 days ago. I can't believe that. It's crazy. So this is where we were, and we did sort of reiterate in this video, like obviously things that were occurring down here. For example, the switch over the MACD into a bearish momentum. The selling volume started coming in, albeit that we had a slight retracement in sale volume here. But then of course, in the last 2 days, we've had yet another Bitcoin travesty, pushing the rest of the market down with it. So hold strong, everyone. Don't get shaken out. This is a gigantic project, but we did anticipate this because we did mention this in the previous video, that from this point down on the 20th of July, where we were on $22, we rose to a staggering $216 from that point, guys. So it's absolutely smashed through. And one of the key aspects of this, in a sense of a negative aspect, of course, great for people taking profit and all this. You get to that top point, and because of that big drive up there, we haven't had any new support resistance levels really, other than a couple of areas where we had a bit of a tail off, but then it started accelerating again. So you have to kind of sit there and go, right, this can't go on forever. And of course, it went on and on and on, and then we stopped, and we finally got a bit of the retracement going on here. But because there's no support or resistance testing here, other than around these lower regions here, and again, even then it's still quite low, you've got to anticipate that this could keep dropping, and there is no potential resistance option until buyers or people certainly with a lot of ammunition behind them to go, yeah, we've had enough of this going down now, we want to push this back up. That's going to be where the real battle occurs. So that, if you remember in the previous video, we drew a couple potential buy opportunities on the way down. You might call me mad putting one down here, but that's still 70%. And I think in general on corrections, you tend to see 30 to 70% reduction. That sounds quite big. And it's almost like I'm just covering myself so it hits a big spectrum. But actually it's true, because when I talk about that aspect, especially in a token that's done this kind of move, 70% is actually quite plausible in my opinion. And I think this isn't a question of saying there's such a big area. It's actually opportunities for buying. You know, if you did buy down here, so I don't actually hold Solana, call me crazy, but I'm doing this video for you guys, is this absolutely fascinates me. And the fact that arguably you could suggest that you know, we come down slightly lower to maybe around this region as well, but I just didn't want to be that bearish. Do you know what I mean? So I put one in here at the low point because of this area around here where we hit previous resistance. We of course shot through that. It was argued that maybe around here on the 18th of August, the day later, we tried to drop back down. Same on the 18th and the 17th and the 18th. And it resisted. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. So we've had a couple of tests around there, but not enough in my opinion. That's why I put that there. Okay, that's not saying Solana's a terrible project or anything like that. It's an absolute powerhouse, and over the next few years it could be huge, guys. Absolutely humongous. So do keep an eye on that. And it's going to be really interesting to see where we might play this out to. You know, in the next video we'll do a proper like price prediction on Solana. I'm just waiting for the correction to occur before then we decide where we might go with this. And again, there's no point in me doing it now until I get full structure of where our new support lines are and resistance lines. That's just how we do things here. Okay, so we'll wait for that one, but let us know in the comments below if you have a price prediction of mine. I know people are throwing out all sorts of numbers at the moment, but let's concentrate on what we know and the facts as much as we can. So as of that top point here in 260, what was it? 216, bang on, that was on the 9th of September. We've already had the retracement down today to the low of 115. We're now back up to 126. So from that top point of 216 to the low point here, we've had so far seen a 44% reduction. Our first buy point we put in at around 51, 52%, which takes us down to around about just over that 100 mark. Now, there is an anticipation that we might tail back off and have so much strength for Solana that we start achieving this 139 point-ish or 136 point and start pushing up again. Absolutely, it can happen. But I do think this whole structure of what I just mentioned about no support mechanism, just shot through everything, there's an anticipation that this will keep coming down. The bearish line here on the MACD is showing to me that gap is widening. So that is a good, well, if you look at it in a good way, it's an indicator for me to say that this is not necessarily dropping like a fly in 1 or 2 days, but certainly potentially a gradual approach. It might do a bit of a wave pattern and slowly come down. So arguably you could say maybe towards the end of this week, we may start hitting this area. If we don't, absolutely fantastic. And it's great for the holders. It's great even for people who sold around this area and taking profits and being able to buy back in here. Absolutely fantastic either way. But we want to cover both aspects, okay? So my opinion is that we're going to still come down to these areas. How low we come down is going to be interesting. I think this is very longer term, maybe over a couple of weeks period, if we're to do that. But I think the timing of everything, I mean, everyone's talking about the run sort of starting in November, December. There is essentially time for us to do this gradual reduction, as I said, with wavy patterns all the way down. And then by the time we're into the end of October and into November, it could start kicking back with a big wave, and that would take us into November. So this is by no means like, accurate at all, but you could start seeing like a wavy pattern all the way down to here. Not necessarily all the way down here, but I'm trying to give you the idea. Have some support level. You might get a small drop down to test it, but then we'd expect by the end of October and into November to start perhaps tracking back up. And that's completely estimated, by the way. That's just an emphasis of what I'm trying to talk about, that this shouldn't really be dropping down like mentally over 2-3 days. It would be something that's gradual, okay? Because you're going to have a lot of testing at each section of this chart. So that's where I think it will be heading towards. It'd be really interesting to see if that plays out. Like I said, if we can get close, if we can start rising this back up in the next 2 days and get a close over this sort of 136 mark, happy days. We could get support there and push up. But I just think there's so much profit taking, and then what you've got along down here is perhaps people were taking profits along the way and thought, I'm just going to be more patient, And as that patience kicks in, less and less people are pushing money in because they're like, it's not really moving much, don't really have confidence in that. And then they either pull out or less volume of intake comes in and it starts coming down. That's how it kind of occurs. The RSI here down on just around 46. In my opinion, I could see this going down to maybe around the 35, 36 mark. And that again could take us perhaps to the end of this week or so. And that's when we'd start seeing these lower regions. So let's see how it goes, guys. That's just my opinion. As I said, it's not financial advice, but we're not doing full-on hype videos here all the time. We want to be realistic, and we want opportunities as well on the way up as well as on the way down, okay? And that's a good thing coming down sometimes, because it allows you to accumulate more. It allows you to take your profits on the way up and reaccumulate on the way down. Or if you're holding for the future and you're just happy to buy dips every 5 seconds, this is another opportunity. So I don't see this as a bad thing at all. People get so wound up about it because they just want something to go and hit the roof every 5 seconds. It's just not like that. And if anything, it's better. It's more healthy for all the projects to do these kind of corrections, in my opinion. So guys, we're going to wrap up there. Let us know, like I said, in the comments below, what you think of Solana. What is your price prediction for 2021? And as we do our proper price prediction in the next video, I'll try and make it shorter term than a whole week, the next one. We will call out some of the best ones and we'll have a bit of fun about it, okay? So, and what we'll do actually, I'll tell you what, if you shower your price prediction in the comments, I'm going to label them on the chart, and then we're going to see who gets to the nearest in the big bull run. And I'll tell you what, we might even do a prize actually. We'll release some deals in the next video as well beforehand on that. So keep an eye on Twitter and we'll announce that. And you throw them out there, I'll put them in. And whoever gets the closest one we'll do maybe like a ledger giveaway or something. That'd be quite cool. So guys, wrap it up there. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.